Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, we're going to be doing a reading for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for your cross watchers, also for those of us who find ourselves here on this video without any Piscean anything, wondering why the heck you're here. You're probably an empath. You're probably an empath and you're probably here to receive some messages from your soul. So, this reading, it carries with it the energies of time to dive deep, 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 deep into your truth, or risk drowning at the surface. Okay? That's intense. That's intense. If you don't allow yourself to go much deeper than what you usually do, when you observe aspects of your life, um, sorry, certain lessons that you're in constantly cycling into, things like that, it can definitely cause quite a bit of issue for you. And you might not even realize your avoidance of deep diving is the very thing that's causing you to struggle so unnecessarily. All right, one more. Just going to get the cards ready. Okay. You're walking something into form. You are walking towards something. It's an intense feeling that I'm starting to get. It's increasing in intensity. Let's see. I don't know why it's increasing in intensity, but it is. But it is. All right. Let's pull this deck. All right. And then this deck, and what was the other one you wanted? What? Oh, this deck. All right. Push this back. Here we go, guys. Here we go. So, a lot of the times, Pisceans and empaths have a tendency to struggle with subject matter or circumstance that involves someone else receiving a dose of truth. Okay. And it's not that Pisceans or empaths are liars or any of that. I mean, there could be Pisceans or empaths who do lie. But it would be a disservice to you and to everyone else to make statements that blanketly accuse. Okay. So we're trying to steer clear of that accusatory energy. So now, okay, this is gonna be some intense stuff. Intensity. I love intensity. Make it intense. Not really, but I don't know. Okay, here goes. Here goes, guys. This card was face up. Interesting. And then we'll just, I don't know what the cards are, but they all kind of got picked up at the same time. So let's get started. Okay. So starting off, here we go. Card number 41, bring it into form. If you want to get somewhere in your journey, you have to start walking. You have to start manifesting, allowing yourself to manifest the situations, the connections, um, the experiences that you need to further ripen your inner under and overstanding of yourself and your soul. Trying to keep yourselves in the shallow areas because you're afraid of drowning is not going to serve you. It's actually going to be the very thing that ends up making you drown. There's this concept of like a sharp knife is much safer than a dull one. Why is that? Well, because when the knife is sharp, you have a certain respect for it. You need to have a certain level of awareness to make sure that you don't cut yourself. When the knife is dull, we think like, oh, this is safer because it's not going to cut me. It's going to be very hard for it to cut me. Failing to realize you're not applying the appropriate um, the appropriate type of tool and use of the tool for whatever it is you're trying to do. If you're trying to cut steak or a very fibrous type of plant material and you're using a very dull knife, the amount of pressure you need to use to effectively wield that knife is going to be greatly increased. And because it doesn't cut very easily, you're going to be more awkward at the job you're trying to accomplish. And because you've been disillusioned by this sense of like a false sense of safety, you're most likely not going to be as present. You're most likely going to um, disregard or underestimate whatever it is you're doing. The worst injury that I've ever had was I literally almost cut the tip of my thumb off. Like this whole portion right here, that should be missing right now. This whole portion, if you were ever to meet me in real life and you would feel it, you would still feel the ball of fucking super glue that I tried to use to repair it on my own. I was cutting with a paring knife, and I had no respect for the paring knife because it's small. I had no respect for it, and my mother kept telling me, "You better use a cutting board. You're going to cut yourself." And I looked over to tell her, like, "No, just calm down. Leave me. Let me cut my fucking apples on my own terms." And the paring knife got embedded into my finger. The only thing that stopped it from cutting this whole portion off was the fact that it got caught on my nail. Like I had to struggle to get it out of my nail. So with that, the size, I underestimated it because my perception, just like most humans, if it's bigger, it's stronger and more, you have to be more wary. If it's smaller, it's like benign. It's just a little thing. No, I ended up that thing wouldn't stop bleeding for several hours before I finally admitted to myself, I'm not super gluing this shit shut. I'm gonna have to go to the ER for this one, which I did. I had to. I had to. And that all of that suffering and struggle had to do with me avoiding certain things, avoiding my needs, avoiding the avoiding the fact that I needed to be fully present in that moment and not disregard the task at hand. A lot of us tend to do this. You don't want to confine yourself to the shallows just because you think there's less risk of you drowning. The fact is, you only need like what, 2 inches of water. You only need to be able to cover up to here. For me, that's about an inch. I don't have a big face. Like it doesn't protrude out as much. So it would take less water to drown me. So now what's going to happen is you're going to bring something into form and it's up to you how that process is going to go. You're either going to bring your growth through extraordinarily elevated levels of struggle and pain. Pain is necessary, struggle is not. You're either going to use pain in a very elevated way, or you're going to be present. It's probably still going to hurt because it's a very intense lesson that's being learned. And you're going to learn what you need to learn with minimal struggle. Again, the pain is necessary, the struggle is not. And then you can go about your life. You can move forward from it. So, card number 7, Legacy of Light. You come from a legacy of light. All of us do. All of us have this beautiful, magical parts of ourselves that we really keep partitioned away from the reality of the life we're living. Why is that? Because as empaths and as Pisceans, we have a tendency to overly accommodate people's own insecurities. Hey, just because they're afraid of their own magic doesn't mean you need to hide yours. Sometimes it's in you um, allowing your truth to shine that you're actually empowering other people to live in their truth as well, to feel powerful, being just who they are. Being who you are is a powerful thing. It goes back to this we I think we're in, as a collective, we are in this cycle of learning emanation versus emulation. Are you pretending to be strong or are you actually strong? And it's your very life experiences that will help you to determine this and the depth at which you know how strong you are. The goal, and people who are not ready to face the reality of life are not going to like this statement. The goal of life is to learn, and the best way to learn is through pain. You're not here for an easy ride. You're not here to have a life devoid of any pain, any inconvenience, any of that. Like I had someone get pissed off at me in a live stream about like, no, I don't want to go through I'm done with the lessons. And well then shit, I don't know what the fuck you're here for then. Wrong channel for that. I don't know what you're here for in life. I don't know why you're here on my channel. Period. This is a place to help empower you through your learning process, not to coddle your fears and encourage you to remain in your box of confinement. There's plenty of other places that you can go to satisfy that need of like denying the truth of your greatness. I'm incapable of doing that for you, with you, to you. I'm legit incapable. Like, I don't have it in me to do that for you. I don't think I ever have, to be honest. Card number 42, the word wants to be written. There is something that you just are not seeing within yourself, within your connections. It's something that's really, really offensive to your soul at this point, is the feel that I'm given. It's something that's causing you such additional unnecessary um, struggle struggle within yourself, struggle in your environment, simply because you're avoiding the processing of whatever this is, whoever you're becoming. You're not supposed to be the same person forever. So to kind of drive this point home, you are probably at your cutest when you're about 1 years old, maybe somewhere between 1 and 3 years old. So like let's say 2 years old. You're probably at your cutest then because like, you're still kind of a baby, but you can talk and you got this like sassiness about you, or you're super sweet. You're at your cutest then. If your parents only value you at your cutest, is it fair of them to give you the poisons that will stunt your growth and forever keep you that size? I mean, really think on that, because this is what we're doing when we keep trying to confine ourselves to this concept of this is who I need to be. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Maybe it's time for me to kind of put my attitude slightly lower. Not be so sassy, not be so confrontational, not be so this, not be so that. Be a little bit easier to tolerate and view, because when I first started live streaming, I was very easy to tolerate, to view, because I was still in this phase of trying to be sweet. And it's not that I'm not, it's that I have so many other fractals, facets of myself that go beyond just being sweet and accommodating you and whatever it is you're wanting or needing from me. So I was thinking about it and I was like, things it's just that, it just kind of flowed more then. Like, business wise, it was more palatable to more people. And then I found myself like, bitch, no, you're not here to be palatable. You're here to offer a new, completely new flavor, a new flavor that has such a richness and a texture to it that they can't find it anywhere else unless they dive deep into themselves and retrieve it from their core. That's your purpose. Your purpose is not to be more easily tolerated. Your purpose is to live so authentically true to yourself that the people who find authenticity valuable and beautiful will be drawn to you. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. And now it's getting to a point where and I know that that little moment of thinking that, considering that, has a lot to do with the uprising of a lot of the distorted beliefs, a lot of the insecurities that I've processed over the years. And I've gotten to a point where I've leveled up. And so I'm needing to reprocess all of this stuff from a higher point of view. So it's not a return of my insecurity, it's a reassessment of why I'm not returning to that insecurity. No way. No fucking way. Because all I needed was one tiny, tiny sliver of a reminder that even when I tried so hard to not make any waves and to be really, really, really fucking nice to everybody, go out of my way to help and really feed that codependency monster that lived inside me, um, I was still villainized. When I outgrew my purpose in their lives, when they needed a new hero, well, I mean, to have a hero, you need a villain because, the polarities, and you need a villain to identify a person as a hero. Well, guess who the fuck's always volunteered to be the new villain? So it has nothing to do with who you are. These are the cycles of human perception, human existence. They always need a villain, they always need a hero. And who the villain and hero will be, that's really irrelevant. These are just the continuations of cycles. New characters will play those roles as people see fit, and life will continue. Are you okay with simply living in that way, where your life is simply going to continue with no substance, no depth, no gravity, where you are satisfied with simply being only up to your ankles in water? There's something so liberating about being in the water, where your entire body is immersed in water. The weight of the problems of the world are suddenly not so heavy. So, why would you sit in the shallows, simply getting your bathing suit soggy, but still feeling the full weight of the gravity of the world's problems, of the problems of the people who are in your life, the people you care about, the ones that help to sustain your codependency cycles? If you dive deep into your waters, that weight is just really, it's negligible. It is. It's negligible. So the word wants to be written. Um, this is about you documenting within yourself the journey that you're on, but allowing yourself to really, really, really see where your fears are coming from. Are these fears you haven't yet addressed? Or have you leveled up and now you're seeing it from a higher perspective? It's not that you failed. It's not that you're reverting back to a place of toxicity. It's that your soul is reminding you just how far you've come. And if you can be faced with the same circumstance and react or respond in a different manner, that is evidence of your growth. That is evidence you have changed. You are no longer the same person. And that's not to say that you're going to deny all of these natural urges, feelings, perceptions about any given topic. You are who you are. And if you haven't grown at a level you are satisfied with, instead of shaming yourself, why don't you encourage and inspire? Why don't you allow yourself to be surrounded by the very things that will further support your inspiration, your process? Instead of surrounding yourself with the very people who will jump at the opportunity to tear you down. I mean, I'm getting all riled the fuck up thinking about this. I'm getting riled the fuck up thinking about this because this is something that I participated in for so long. Anytime I would recognize any vestiges of growth, um, I find that in my history, I would seek out the very people who would tear me down, the ones who would prefer to die before giving me permission to be my most authentic self. Those were the people I would seek out. The ones who shame me just by being near me. I don't even have to say anything. Like everything about their energy tells me I should be ashamed of myself. Those are the people I would seek out. Why is that? Is it for a lack of love of self? No, it's not. I tell you why. That is a form of self love where you are seeking out the things you feel you need. The problem there is the distorted perception. You don't actually need that. You're perceiving a need for that. There's a difference between actual need and a perceived need. There's a difference between feeling it and living it. Huge differences there. Huge. And you can't hold yourself accountable for something you have no idea about if you're not yet aware of the differences between perception and reality. How do you hold yourself accountable to that? And that's why it becomes very, very necessary for you to no longer put people on pedestals, to no longer idolize, to no longer elevate other people. Because you know what happens? You enter in a state of emulation, and emulation leads to stagnation. You know why? Because at no point in that emulation are you honoring yourself, your gifts, your abilities, your value, your purpose. No, you're idolizing someone else. You're trying to be someone else. And this is such a huge disrespect to your soul, your purpose, your existence. Like, don't you dare disrespect your soul in that way. That is such a slippery slope. This concept of, I'm going to emulate you until I find myself, you'll never be confident in that. You know why? Because you'll never be me. Every time you think you've mastered this, like, I'm going to mimic Emmie and what she talks about, I'm going to be talking about something else. And so you're going to need to catch up to that. How about you find the conversation you're not hearing within your heart and talk about that? Because that's something I could never copy. That's something unique to you. And because it's unique to you, it adds another facet to your perception of your worth. The time for emulation is over. The era of emanation is here. And if you're going to continue to simply emulate the things that make you feel somewhat inspired, instead of taking it in, allowing it to marinate within your truths, and allowing the birth of something that was inspired by this, but now is this something you own, something that is yours. If you don't allow yourself to do that, you will drown in your own shallows. You will drown at the surface simply because you refuse to stand. Have you ever seen those videos? They're usually joke videos where the person doesn't know how to swim. They're freaking out. They're like, oh my God, I'm drowning. I'm drowning. All you got to do is stand up, fool. All you got to do is stand up. Now's the time to stand. Stand tall and proud for being different, not using your difference to help you compare or compete with someone else, but using your difference to help you understand the gravity of your presence and why you are needed. The most authentic expression of you and your truth is what the world needs right now. That's what we need. We need you, the real you, not the manufactured you, not the you that you try to be to impress other people, not the you that's a version of someone else because you're trying to get to their level. You have your own levels. The reality of it is this. Once upon a time, when I first began offering mentorships, I thought at the time it would give someone a sense of their level of accomplishment and development. So I'd give them like a percentage of how, like the percentage of how much they've achieved in regards to their activation and growth. Okay. And I began to recognize this number is not, it's not helping. It's not helping people because instead of helping, it's causing them to further compete and compare. Because I used to do it in terms of, yeah, so you're around the 20% mark of achieving the things you need to achieve in regards to perception. And then sometimes they would ask me, well, what level are you at, I guess, to give them clarity as to how much they've accomplished. And I would tell them I would probably be at like a 2 or 3%. Oh my God, I'm at a higher level than Emmy. First off, who the fuck is Emmy to you? Who is Emmy to you? That's suddenly like, oh shit. And the reality of it is, I have such a larger um, shoe to fill, to grow into than you do, because I have a different purpose than you. It doesn't make me better. It just means I need more work to accomplish before this life is done. It doesn't mean shit. And so when you compete and compare, you have no idea what that person's purpose is. Maybe that person has reached 100% of their growth because their purpose really is to be exist as an organic portal and create adversity, the very adversity that people need in order to accrete frequency through trauma induced accretion. Maybe that's their purpose. Maybe that's all they're supposed to accomplish in life. And maybe, this recognition of I'm supposed to recognize, realize things that are so profound that as I do this and I allow people to witness my process of self realization, I'm actually calling in a higher level of consciousness for all of us to experience. And in that sense, it's going to take me a much longer time to develop than someone who doesn't have that type of purpose. We can both be from the Emerald Cloister. We can both be of such a high elevation of soul, but your purpose is to remain hidden, working in the background while I'm publicly visible. Why? Because I'm better than you? No, because my coding is geared to be publicly visible. Not because I'm more popular, not because I'm more this or more that, or, whatever distorted perception society tells us that creates some sort of distorted hierarchy. No, we all serve a different purpose. The person who works the backstage is just as important as a person on the stage. They have different purposes. They truly, truly do. Because really, even if you can act really, really well, even if you have a tremendous fan base, I mean, have you ever seen these A-list actors? They pick like some really shitty movie. Their agent gets them this really shitty movie, and suddenly it's like, wow, that fucking was shitty. That was a really shitty movie. Case in point, Halle Berry in Catwoman. Like, that was a really shitty movie. That was awkward. But then her in, was it Monsters Ball? It was like, whoa, girl, the depth. Oh my freaking God, the depth. Or was that Charlize Theron? I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. And if you don't, maybe the message is not for you. That's okay too. That is okay too. Choices. The choices you make take you steps closer to your celestial teacher. Who is your celestial teacher? No one other than your own celestial self. You come from a legacy of light. You come from a legacy of light. You are your own teacher. You are. You're your own teacher. So every decision you make, every choice, it can make it more difficult or it can make it easier. It really depends on you. It depends on your level of expectation of yourself. If you expect yourself to fail, you absolutely will. That's just a given. If you expect yourself to have a bad time, to struggle, to be miserable, you will. That is a fact of life. Happiness and self satisfaction is a frame of mind. No one else is going to gift this to you. Case in point, sometimes I wake up in a fabulous mood. My husband will make me a latte and it's even more fabulous and I feel loved and it's amazing. And then there's other days I wake up in a shitty ass mood. Wakes me up with kisses like he does every day, makes me my latte, and I'm over here like, this coffee's not hot enough. He didn't use enough of my non dairy creamer. What the fuck grounds did he use in this? And I'm just souring myself. Was there any difference in what he did? No, there wasn't. It's the same fucking coffee every day, girlfriend. It's the same coffee grounds every day on the same espresso machine every day. And I know this because we travel with it. It's compact, it works. There's no difference in it. It's my perception of it. When you have bitterness within your mouth, you've been eating the fruits of bitterness. Everything you eat after that point, unless you clear that out, will taste of bitterness. It absolutely will. It will taste of bitterness, and that is no one's fault. No one. This is about you taking accountability for the choices you make, clearing out the choices that cause bitterness within your heart, within your mind, within the ways with which you communicate to other people. Card number 9, communication. See, I didn't need to change what aspects of me I allow to come forward. That realization that morning, I don't know if it was this morning or the other morning, that realization, that question of, should I allow myself to be more limited in the way I express myself? Because, like I'm kind of feeling like I'm becoming a little too like aggressive or I don't know, abrasive, something like the way the messages are coming across. I don't know if I'm just feeling sensitive. And I'm realizing that there was no need for me to change who I am. There is a need to recognize that some of the messages come out in such a powerfully passionate way that sometimes that level of passion can be counterproductive. Sometimes that level of passion can actually cause people who are supposed to receive to be so, abraded, basically. Like that cleansing of that wound can become so painful unnecessarily. Like, if you can have lidocaine to cleanse the wound, why not? Why not? Why cause yourself to hurt even more? Because it's the way I show I'm powerful? No. Punishing yourself is not powerful. So going back to when I nearly lopped off this section of my thumb, um, I needed to get several stitches. Only problem is I'm deathly allergic to lidocaine. Deathly allergic. So what ended up happening was I needed to have this gaping, and it was staying open. It would spread open. That's why I needed it stitched shut. They had to clean that. They had to irrigate it without any numbers, and it was fucking painful. It was painful. And then I recognized the truth of my being. I have abilities that cause me to be able to shut off the pain receptors. There is nothing brave or courageous about feeling unnecessary physical pain. Nothing. Nothing. That is an insecurity coming up. That is you trying to go above and beyond to prove your worth to what? To whom? To yourself? Do you really need to prove anything to yourself? Do you really need you to believe this? And so you have to go above and beyond to prove this. I mean, there's nothing you're going to do to believe this if you don't already believe this. If it's about you, you know yourself. And if you're refusing to know that part of you that makes you able to better believe what that part represents, whether it be fearlessness, courage, strength, power, whatever it is, you're not going to believe it. Faking it till you make it does not work for your spiritual development. It just doesn't. And I would be lying to you if I told you, pretending, trying, making these statements of I am without believing it, that it would somehow usher in your growth. That's a lie. That's a lie. Sometimes the only way to grow is to recognize and be fully present in that fall from grace within yourself, where you are at the top of a tower thinking you are above the world, above yourself, above your existence, and having that tower moment just obliterate that tower and you fall from it. Because whatever it was in your life that you constructed for yourself, that's represented by the tower. It's an illusion. And your higher self will never allow illusions to exist uncontested. It will never allow you to continue to live a lie without trying to help you see the lie that you're living. And just because you refuse to hear it, just because you refuse to see it, doesn't mean your soul's going to stop trying to help you understand. And it will escalate and escalate and escalate its attempts to get you to see until you actually do see. And usually, by the time you do see, it's a very, very painful experience. And it's okay because that pain will grow you. It'll give you a better understanding of where the limitations within you are. And these are the limitations you've believed in, because really no limit exists until you believe it. That's the fact as I know it to be. This has been applicable to my life, my entire life. There is no limit. Case in point, because my primary identity is as a mother, no one told me that your child should not be able to read at 17 months old. No one told me that your child should not have a college level understanding and use of anatomical terms at 2 years old. No one told me that it would be impossible for me to teach myself how to use a digital SLR, how to learn the functions of Photoshop at a level where now I'm being paid for post production editing for publications. What the fuck? I have no certificates, I have no degrees. Well, maybe because I taught myself, I didn't learn the limitations that the students learn based on what the teacher tells them the limits are. So, if that's the case, if the person who's teaching you is not just teaching you the things that empower and grow you, but they're also overlaying that with their own insecurities, their own limitations. Well, if I can't do it, my student shouldn't be able to either, because I'm a much higher elevation in this subject matter. They shouldn't be able to do it. Uh, I beg to differ. We're not the same soul. We don't have the same purpose. My ability to learn, understand, and make that quantum leap forward into a whole nother realm of potentiality for that specific topic is not limited by my teacher's lack of ability to keep up with me. And that's not me being boastful. That's me stating a fact of my learning process and not being apologetic of it. There will be people who will learn at a more accelerated, more pronounced quantum ability than me. That does not diminish me or my worth or my process. That doesn't make me less able to learn. When it upsets you that other people speak their truth, that other people can recognize where they're at, that many of their limitations have fallen away, are you really irritated by the person being boastful? Or are you being triggered because now you are competing and comparing and you're not matching up? You're now telling yourself in some shape or form that you're not enough, that they are more than you. Are they more than you or do they just have a different purpose? Do they learn differently? And if you don't know what the answer is, I'll tell you. They're just different than you. It doesn't make them better than you. It doesn't make you worse than them. You need to let go of that distorted belief. You really, really do. The most powerful type of teacher is the one who invites you to be their equal. I used to be extremely averse and just cringe when people would tell me I'm their teacher, like, oh, don't go there. And then I had to think about why. What is this? What is this? Why? Why are you stopping people from identifying you in the way they need to identify you as? That's a violation of their sovereignty. Trying to tell them that no, you're wrong. No, you cannot believe that. I'm going to now dictate to you what you believe. That is wrong. And I had to do the work within myself to recognize, yes, I am a teacher, but not in the conventional sense. I teach you by inviting you to come and sit with me, to be my equal, to lose your fear and recognize we're on the same plane of existence. There's nothing elevated about me. Yes, I am more experienced in certain topics because I've lived through it, but you are still living, and maybe those topics have nothing to do with your purpose. For example, if part of my purpose is helping to advocate for those who have been tossed away by societies, the homeless people, the homeless communities, that is a part of my purpose. Would it not be right for me to experience some in real life training by actually experiencing homelessness myself? I mean, I experienced living in a parking lot. You want to be me? You need to live in a parking lot too, not just for one night. You need to stay there for quite some time. You need to stay there for quite some time and allow yourself to silence your pain so deeply and give so much to other people to where you are asking other people for donations for other people without mentioning the fact that you need $700 to fix your brakes so that you can finally drive out of the state and not live in a parking lot. You think I'm powerful? You think I'm somehow elevated from you? I couldn't even find the strength and the courage within myself to allow other people to help me. And I wasn't even asking for help. People were offering. Let that really sink in. How powerful am I really? How brave am I really if I couldn't even muster up the courage to accept the help that was already being freely offered? I mean, I don't see anything brave about that at all. At all. Yeah. Yeah, I was so fearful of receiving that I would much rather live in a parking lot than allow people to help. And it's not even like, well, it's hard to ask people for help and let people no, people were offering. They were offering. No, 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 someone else needs it more than me. Girl. So, whatever your perception is of other people, I promise you, their reality as they know it is far different than what you are viewing, what you are perceiving from them. And, whatever you're perceiving from me, it's not because I'm being fake. I'm being so authentically me, so authentically me. And you're seeing the truth of who I am. I'm powerful. I'm powerful in my truth. And to be honest, those of you who share space with me on live streams, you see a side of me that the rest of the world doesn't see. Because I'm definitely not vocal like this in real life. You'd be hard pressed to hear me speak. And I'm not even ashamed to say that. Even at family parties full of relatives, blood relatives that have known me since I was born, who have babysat me, who have seen me through all these different phases, I don't talk. I don't talk. If you talk to me directly, I'll answer and I'll socialize. But the moment you are no longer actively guiding and engaging me in conversation, I will go mute. Does that make me less powerful? No. The fact that I can exist at two polar opposite ends of my plane of existence and still be anchored in the center, that absolutely makes me powerful. Powerful for myself. The fact that I can share my truth with no shame, like, "Oh my god, what will people think if they know that I lived in a park? Oh my god, what will people think if they know that I'm actually extremely introverted in real life? Oh my god, what if I just don't care about petty things like that? What if I allow myself to go very, very deep, deep into the trenches of my heart's oceans and really just swim within there? Really, 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 really just exist in that depth and allowing the pressure of a deep existence to be perceived as a hug from creation rather than, oh my God, I'm going to be crushed. No, 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 no. My waters won't crush me. This is my truth. This is my soul. This is Creator itself hugging me tightly, letting me know you're not alone in this depth. Even if you haven't met someone yet that can go this deep and stay there with you, which I have, I've met people. Y'all exist and y'all empower me more. Um, Even if I was still at a point where I felt like no one could reach me there, uh, my soul made sure I knew that I wasn't alone. And it took a while for me to develop that perception. So now it's about you developing your perception. Elephant spirit, learn from the past. Don't be ashamed of it. The only time someone can weaponize your human history, your personal history, is when you have shame and try to hide it. Why do I talk so openly about myself and my history and my experiences of the past few years? Because motherfuckers, you're not going to shame me into submitting to your demands to remain silent. I don't think so. There is no weapon you will use against me that comes from me. I own it all of it, all of it, because I recognize even at my socially perceived low points, I was not low. I was at the happiest point in my life, the most empowered, the most. In that period, I was gifted with the opportunity to bond with my family, my children in the deepest way possible. The deepest way possible. There's nothing embarrassing or shameful about that. Nothing. There is something so beautifully raw about that period. This rawness where all the fakery and fuckery has just been it's been sandblasted away and all that's left is me naked in my truth. Mm, there's power in that. There's power in the recognition of what your processes are. There is so much power in the history of you, the things you've lived through, the things you've survived, and yet you're still here. There are people and things that conspire to tear you down and hold you down, and yet you're still here. And this is not a channel where you're going to get superficial, fluffy ass messages that help perpetuate your own toxicity. This is a channel where it's real, it's raw. We'll talk about it. Don't be ashamed about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Really allow your truth to come out because this is the safest space you could ever experience the truth of your pain. What is it teaching you? What parts of that are you still hiding from yourself? There's power in being in the presence of your tribe. And that's what this space is. It's tribal space. That's beautiful. That is. That's beautiful. That is just, that's beautiful. I like that. Mm. Watch and wait, Seahorse Spirit. Card number 53, 5 being the number of change, 3 being the number of a solid foundation. Change plus a solid foundation creates the potentiality for reunification. 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 being the number of reunification. You need both change and a solid foundation from which to observe the changes in order to reunify your parts. You can't just change and leave it all behind you. Because when you do that, you failed to receive the learning that painful period was gifting you. No part of my life will I ever be ashamed of at this point. After going through the process that I needed to go through to recognize the level of shame with which I live every day, ashamed of who I am, ashamed of how I look, ashamed of how I think, ashamed of my differences, ashamed of my power, ashamed my ability to heal, ashamed, 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 ashamed. No one came up to me and told me I should not be ashamed, and then suddenly I wasn't ashamed. I had to reach the very bottom of the cup that I held myself in, trying to fit in, trying to be tap water when the truth is I am an ocean. Ooh, mm. Are you holding yourself in a cup? Are you afraid for that cup to be emptied? Because you are the cup as well. You're not just the contents of the cup, you are the cup as well. Are you afraid of being condemned once people realize what your tap water? Are you even tap water? Are you? Because even that polluted, very altered tap water, if you let that cup sit in stillness, uncovered for any length of time, the pure water will evaporate. It will reunite with the environment. And when the conditions are just right, that evaporated water that represents you and your perception of losing yourself, losing your form, losing your knowing of what your purpose is at the right time with the right conditions, you then condense and become water again. But this time you're cleansed. All the impurities left behind. And if you practice energetic hygiene, which many of us do not, if you practice energetic hygiene, I mean, it would be hygienic to rinse out the cup. There goes all of that trace toxicity. And no, you guys, exposing yourself to toxicity and then assuming that cutting cords will is energetic hygiene, that's a lie. I tell you right now, that's a lie. It's a lie. Why do you think I'm so selective as to who shares space with me? That whole cord cutting bullshit needs to stop. You can't. When you cut a tree down, is that tree dead? When you cut it by the trunk, is that tree dead? If you cut it at the upper part, just beneath the start of the branches, is that tree dead? Does it make a difference if you lower the cut to the middle of the trunk? Oh, no, no, no. Well, let's try at the very base of the trunk, right above the ground. Is that tree dead? No, it will regrow. And because you have this false sense of security that, oh, I cut it down. Michael doesn't help cut cords. I tell you that right now. He's the one who told me all of this shit about cords. Whoever you're calling to you to cut cords, I promise you, it's not Michael. It's not Michael. It's part of the beings that support the programs that give you a false sense of security so that you can continue to exist in a state of disillusionment and disempowerment. My existence comes with it the purpose of empowering you to see the truth of what you're living through. 69% at 1122, 218.7. Thank you very much. 42, 38, 35, 38. What? Love those numbers. Okay. So, card number 66, trust in the magic. Allow yourself to get to a point where maybe you don't know everything. Maybe you don't understand what's going on. And maybe you don't need to. Maybe that understanding will happen as you go through it. What level of fear do you need to exist within that you have to understand every little component of this one little thing before you agree to comply with your soul's request? I'm not talking about someone else's request. You should absolutely question everybody. Question me, shit. Question everybody. But when it comes to your soul, if you need to really fully understand the ins and outs of this before you agree to participate in it, what level of fear is that? Is it because you need to be able to find a way to avoid? Is it because you need to be able to rationalize something to yourself, control the situation, manipulate the outcome? Those are all fear based activities. Fear based. I recognize this because I participated in it for so long. So now, card number 22, crystal keys. Keys sounding and feeling to me as though the keys on a piano, the key that is used for the song, the tone, the pitch, all of that kind of tying together. Your soul is asking you to rewrite the melody of your life. Once you rewrite the melody, changing it from something melancholy to something romantically beautiful, you can then begin to consider what words should be written as the lyrics of your new song. Ooh, I love this. I love this. This is feeling good. The message is feeling good if I start touching my own legs. Card number 51, the sound of the universe. What is the sound of the universe? Silence. Silence. That's the sound of a universe. That's a sound. Now, what's the feel of the universe? Mm, something so beautifully divine that attempting to even begin to explain the experience takes away from the experience itself. The feel of the universe is the same as attempting to define what divinity is. When you begin to say like he is or she is, you're halving it. You're causing it to no longer be that which it is, which is a totality. The moment you begin with a whole I am, that's also negating the truth of creation, because the I am and the I am not is encompassed within creation. One time, long time ago, someone asked me to define God because they were looking for a platform from which to efficiently and effectively attack me and tear me down publicly. And this was before the whole Emmy evolving thing. So they had no idea. They legit had no fucking idea what level of fuckery they stepped into, because my Facebook profile was nothing but pictures of my children and, just funny things, kittens. I'd never share anything esoteric. Absolutely not. Nothing esoteric, nothing inspirational, nothing empowering. Absolutely not. That's an aspect of me that at that time was still so very, very closely guarded and hidden away. So when this person, and I knew their intent, they asked me this loaded question to find a way to attack me, I then unleashed my truth. God is defined by my soul, is undefinable. It would be the everything, the nothing, and the spaces in between. How do you respond? And they couldn't. They couldn't. So then they brought out scripture. I'm indoctrinated. I'm a Catholic. I've been my entire life. Please. There were a few years there that I was going to church 7 days a week. Coming before the priest starts mass, staying for several hours after mass, going to a different church to catch mass because it was at a different time, multiple masses at multiple locations per day. Love it. No, I'm so much more than the limited understanding that is allowed in religious circles. I'm so much more than that. And, it's okay for me to feel like I'm above that. I'm above that type of mental and emotional slavery. I will no longer be confined. I will no longer allow you to convince me that going into my depths will drown me while you hold my face underwater in the shallows, letting me know that I can only breathe when you give me permission to. No, I will not comply. Your teachings offend my soul, and I will not comply. And this is about you getting to the point where you hear the sound of the universe does not come out of the mouth of another woman or man. It does not come out of teachings that you don't know the originations of. Regardless of what's being taught, we don't know where these words are coming from. We do not know the author of the Bible. We don't. We don't even all really know who organized it because a shit ton of fucking books were removed. Tons of letters were removed. No, I refuse to accept that as my truth. I said it once, I'll say it again. I will not allow you to try and convince me that my depths are dangerous and I will drown there while you hold my face underwater in the shallows. I will not. I will not. And in order for you to really empower yourself, you have to step out of this mindset of, I will allow myself to be a martyr for my cause. Fuck that shit. This is going to be mutual combat. I don't fucking think so. I don't fucking think so. You want to come at me? Motherfucker, it's going to be mutual fucking combat. It's going to be mutual combat because I respect myself, my soul, and my existence enough to fucking go to war for myself. Ooh, the power of that. Ooh, where it's not that I exist simply for other people, that I recognize the divinity inside me. I exist for me as well as for you. And if I'm going to help you learn to love yourself at the depth that divinity needs you to love, I'm going to first have to do that for me. So, fuck yeah, mutual combat. hmm I promise you, the sword of truth cuts much deeper than these daggers used for lies. We're so afraid that people will use daggers on us. Yo, I got a machete in one hand, a fucking broadsword in the other. That doesn't include the other weaponry that my soul is equipped with. There's no more left to fear aside from my own refusal to recognize what part of my journey I'm on. And I'll go through these periods where I'm all gung ho and let's grow, not let's go, let's grow, let's do it, let's grow. And then periods where I'm like, I don't fucking know, all of this might be a lie. Michael, I'm gonna have to burn you again. I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe you are actually a demon and you kind of tricked me a little bit. Sorry, it's gonna hurt a little bit, Michael. It's gonna hurt a little bit. Promise to make it quick. I'm gonna burn you real good. There's no melty face Mikey, we can be friends again. If there is some melty face Mikey, mutual combat. We gonna have a motherfucking war up in here. Oh, luminescence. That's deep. That's deep. Mm-hmm. Allowing each half of you to come to center, exist within the heart, elevate to the high heart, enter deeply before coming back at the ninth chakra in the base of your skull, where the Christ consciousness is housed. Ooh. This is about allowing yourself to embrace your masculine and your feminine energies and traits. Hey, sometimes the masculine energy needs to come forward to defend the feminine. And sometimes we need to recognize that feminine savagery needs to be unleashed because the masculine needs a break. I say it again, the female of the species is more savage than the male. Look at every species, especially if she has babies, especially. And this is not about feminism and elevating women above men. This is about recognizing you have both masculine and feminine energy within yourself. Allow each to play their part. Allow each to come forward when they need to be forward and step back when they need to be back, knowing you're whole in yourself. And anyone outside of you that comes to further empower you, to join you on your journey, to serve as a counterpart, they are simply enhancing what's already there, encouraging, supporting. This is all stuff that's already within you. You don't need something outside of yourself. You don't need someone outside of yourself. Now, sometimes people outside of you can help you get a better sense of what's going on inside of you. But I tell you right now, you'd get to that point at some point or another. You would reach that point of realization eventually. Eventually. But if there are those people who exist within your life who can facilitate an acceleration of this realization, why not? Why not? Because you're ashamed? Because you don't trust? First off, there's nothing for you to be ashamed of. Second off, you absolutely shouldn't just blindly trust people. There's nothing spiritually advanced about that. Nothing. Nothing. No. You should question. People should earn your trust. They should be given lengthy periods to show you through their actions and their energies that they are indeed worthy of you trusting them. And hey, once I give you that trust, I'm sorry, but I don't care how long you've worked to earn that trust. You suddenly show me something that tells me all of a sudden your most authentic self is not what I had thought it was. You lose that trust. And no, I don't have to be sorry. Nope. I have to be obligated to myself. I'm responsible for my health and safety. I am responsible for my internal peace. And if it hurts your feelings, well, I'm sorry about my delivery, but what I spoke is truth. I'll be sorry for the delivery, the words used, the way the words were spoken, but I will not be sorry for the truth of the message. That's just that. That's just that. Um, un momento, guys. Un momento. Un moment. Hold on. Let me. I just got to find something really quick. Okay. So, card number 18, alignment. You have to allow yourself to realign with the truth that you are chaos made into flesh. Chaos is cosmos, cosmos is creation. This concept of neat orders, hierarchies, all sorts of, that's a man made construct. Just like you're going to burn in hell is a man made construct. I wish a motherfucker would try and burn me in hell. We gonna carpool there because creation dictates that you honor my sovereignty and you are in violation. Your attempt to condemn me is a fucking violation of my sovereignty. Let's carpool. You burn me, I burn you. We can have a burn date. But I promise you, condemnation of others, not judgment. Judgment is necessary. Judgment is an intrinsic part of discernment. You have to judge for yourself when environments and individuals are safe or not. Condemnation is a whole nother breed. Condemnation is when you're going to burn it now. You wish. Sorry, that's your fantasy, not mine. I don't like seeing other people hurt. I don't celebrate that shit. What's it tell you about yourself if you celebrate that? Hmm? Like if I saw someone was doing something that would cause them to categorically burn in hell, I would step in like, hey, what's wrong? What do you need help with? Don't do this. Don't do this. Let me help you. Don't become destructive in this way where you're disrespecting your own sovereign right to exist in a peaceful way. Let me help you. Not just watching and like, you gonna burn. Motherfucker, you gonna burn too. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, Yeah, you can burn too. How about that? How about we carpool? How about I put you in a little sidecar? I'll drive the motorcycle, you be in the sidecar. Mhm. How about that? So, card number 42, reclaim your energy. Take it back from the very things, beliefs, groups, whatever that have caused you to believe your energy is somehow evil. Your truth, your ancestry, your purpose, it's evil and it needs to. No, nope. The only way you're going to burn is if you allow them. You allow them to use your own fuel to burn you. How about that? No. My fuel is for sacred journeys, not for burning shit indiscriminately. Use your own fucking fuel to burn yourself. Card number 16, loving compassion. Sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do is call people out on their bullshit when they're attempting you to drag you into their bullshit through shame, through guilt, through fear, intimidation. No, because I love you, I'm going to tell you right now, you are being the biggest dick I have ever seen. And I'm not down for a ride. I don't think so. Sorry for yelling. Let's get you guys one last card because, y'all, I'm going through something. I'm going through something. I'm going through something. It's affecting my mood. Michael says to share it. I'm going to cry. I'm going to so cry. I bought my senior citizen dog. She's my fucking daughter, dude. I bought her a snowsuit because she's now elderly and she's entered a place in her life where she's no longer averse to snow. She just has so much fun in the snow. She licks it like snow cones. And she's a short hair. So I was like, she's probably getting cold. Like, I don't want her to be cold. She's old. So I bought her a snowsuit only to realize the snowsuit, which was made for dogs her size, cut into her from shoulder to shoulder. She's cut across the chest. So I gotta go get her medication and stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is after I discovered it because again, she's short haired. I didn't know that her fur, she's never had matted fur. And I was like, what is that smell? And it was like, "It's fucking coming from your ears. You have some sort of yeast infection in your ears again?" Because she gets that sometimes. It's like, it doesn't smell like yeast. And I'm looking her over. I'm like, what the fuck is this clump on your chest? And that picture I showed you guys was after I began spraying it with some silver water. And it's kind of like a plasma. It started to fall off. It was like a scab, I guess. And then after I cleaned it, and it's like, ah! So there you go. There you go. Even though you're going through something that is very difficult for you, you can still serve as a powerful source of inspiration and encouragement, empowerment. You don't have to hold yourself to such a high standard of, I should have known, because I was going through that for the past few days. Like, fuck, how, why did it take so long? It's only been a few days, but why did I not know this immediately? Oh my fucking god. Well, I knew when it was time for me to know, and that doesn't mean I stop being present for the stuff that I'm supposed to be present for. That doesn't mean I have the luxury of shutting down, shutting out, all of that. It doesn't. It really, really doesn't. There will be times where you will need to shut down, shut out, like shut people out, and kind of just be in your process silently alone. And then there will be times where um, you just need to push through. You need to find that reserve of courage and endurance and push through. So that's what we're doing. I gotta get going though. I gotta find somewhere to pick up certain medication. She doesn't improve within the next day or two. She's looking better. She's like frolicking in the snow again, naked. She's frolicking. Like, girl, stop frolicking. No, I'm not gonna tell her to stop frolicking. I'm like, fuck yes, frolic, boo, frolic. All right, I gotta go, guys. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. Dog Helios is the brand, you guys, motherfuckers. I'll show you. The brand is, wait, it's called Dog Helios. Don't get that for your dog. Fucking A, dude. The cuteness is not worth it. The cuteness is not worth it at all. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Find a time, a space, and a reason to frolic. Let my little shabba-dubbas, her name is Shiva, goddess of darkness. Yeah. Let her inspire you. She's in a lot of pain. Um, bully pits have a tendency to mask their pain. I know she's very uncomfortable. The medication I'm getting hopefully will relieve the discomfort. But even though she's wounded, even though it caused her to feel afraid, um, insecure even, uh, she still found a reason to frolic. I mean, if she can frolic at like 12 or 13 years old with a fucking big ass wound, uh, I'm pretty sure you can frolic too. I'm pretty sure of it. So find a space, a time, and a reason to find your inner frolic. All right. Bye, guys.